When I saw this mac and cheese recipe on TikTok, I knew I had to try it. I went online to order the ingredients and had a little trouble finding them. This recipe must be popular. I finally found them on Amazon, and the second my groceries arrived, I got to cooking. And oh my gosh, this cheesy, comforting mac and cheese is the best I've ever had. I can't wait to make this again.
The way consumers behave is changing with technology. Approximately half of our data has been created in the last 2 years. Technology is moving fast, and our industry is already behind. Retailers and CPG companies are leaving money on the table. 70% of the US population is on social media, where trends, food trends, are going viral every single day, and they're driving purchasing decisions. But where are the consumers shopping? They're shopping on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok Shop, and other e-commerce platforms. They're skipping our aisles for the convenience of a click and guaranteed in-stocks. Our consumers have inspiration at their fingertips. I saw this firsthand in November of 2024. It was a regular workday, and I was out visiting some of our stores. I walked into the first store to find the pasta aisle half empty. Now, I didn't think too much of it until I continued to walk stores throughout the day. I saw the same thing over and over and over again. So I called our procurement team and a couple suppliers, but no one could tell me why there was a sudden surge in demand. Now, fast forward 2 weeks to Thanksgiving dinner. My sister brought the most amazing mac and cheese. So everyone starts asking her where the recipe came from. She smiled and said, TikTok. And just like that, it clicked. One viral video with over 137 million views was responsible for the star of Thanksgiving dinner, but also out of stocks and supply chain chaos. Retailers had no way to react. Out of stocks affected not just noodles, but butter, milk, and cheese through the entire holiday season. And the impact was over $1 million in missed sales at just one retailer for this window of time. So let me introduce you to the team. My name is Chandler Hodges with Fred Meyer. I'm joined today by Lauren Pilgrim with Ralph's Grocery Company, Alex Mercado with Northgate Gonzalez Markets, Danny Cabrera with Stater Brothers Markets, and Alex Jackson with Frida's Specialty Produce. Collectively, we have over 75 years in the grocery retail industry, and we are the Trend Sentinels. Today, we are asking you to take the leap and invest in breakthrough technology that will have a greater return on investment than any other investment you will make this year. The opportunity here is massive. Think about this. If one viral video can cause a nationwide shortage, then what happens when we can tap into these trends in real time and create a new level of convenience for our consumer? Now, you're probably asking yourself, how? How do we do this? And the answer is quantum computing. Now, I know that quantum computing isn't something our industry is talking about right now, but we're going to change that today. The opportunity for quantum computing is massive. It is worth over $3.5 billion for just one national retailer, solely based on missed sales. And viral videos is not the only thing that quantum computing can help us capture. So today, we're going to tell you why quantum computing unpacks such a significant return on investment. It's going to help us capture viral trends, and we're going to tell you how it can help you tap into the buying power of emerging generations. But beyond that, we're going to explain what quantum computing is and how it can leverage the data that you are already paying for. We're also going to tell you how quantum computing can save you tens of thousands of labor hours, how it can revolutionize your supply chain, and virtually eliminate controllable out-of-stocks. This is not just the future, it's your competitive edge. Remember how I said retailers and CPG companies were leaving money on the table? Lauren, can you tell us how much?
$14 billion. This is how much Americans are spending on food products they first discovered on social media. With only 25% of US consumers reporting this, it will continue to grow. One click, one like, and one share at a time. We are witnessing a revolution in consumer behaviors. Millennials, with a population of 83 million, are our country's largest generation, quickly becoming the new financial powerhouse. Retailers and CPG companies need to understand millennials' motivations and adapt their strategies accordingly. $360 billion of disposable income with Gen Z. Gen Z makes up $360 billion of disposable income, and they're 30% of our population, but making up 40% of our consumers. 58% of Gen Zs reported making these purchases, preferring to shop in brick and mortar. When Gen Alpha enters the market, it will be the first time in history we have a full household raised on technology. With millennials as the parents, the projected retail spend is estimated to reach $5.5 trillion. This generational shift represents a major transition in consumer market dynamics. So we all heard Chandler tell us about the viral macaroni and cheese from the last holiday season. Well, let's take it back a few years to the first viral food trend that most of us remember: tomato feta baked pasta. Cherry tomatoes grew 29% in sales from this one viral moment. Retailers had to re-merchandise produce departments to adapt to the growing commodity. And what about what's happening right now? Fitness influencer Ashton Hall posted his 5-hour bizarre morning routine featuring Saratoga water. From brushing his teeth to cold plunging his face, he gained hundreds of millions of views in a matter of days. Primo Brands, Saratoga's parent company, saw a 16% rise in stock. And Google Trends reported data searches for the water spiking to over 1,000% to an all-time high in 1 week. By the time we identify a trend, stock shelves, and launch marketing plans, these viral moments have passed. Imagine inventory systems that react to social media trends in real time. Imagine a trend going viral and trucks arriving that very night, ready to stock shelves and build displays before the store even opens the next morning. Gen Z's purchasing power is estimated to reach $12 trillion by 2034. And while they haven't yet reached their peak earning and spending capacity, this generation already flaunts significant influence that we cannot afford to ignore. Quantum computing is our ticket to capturing these dollars. By creating personalized experiences that Gen Z expects, through quantum-powered technology, we will be sure to gain the loyalty in the future generations. But Alex, doesn't quantum computing sound a little intimidating?
Yes, but so did AI 5 years ago. So, what is quantum computing? I would like to start off by asking each of you to picture a library, but picture it as if it was a maze and you were looking at it from up above. Now, think about having to find your favorite book in this library with no guidance. You may go aisle by aisle, you'll look through shelving maps, and you may even decide to retrace your steps. In essence, this is what traditional computing is like, very sequential. Quantum computing, on the other hand, explores every possibility simultaneously. It is like checking every single book in that library, and once it finds the book that you are looking for, it gives you the fastest way to get to it. This power that quantum computing has allows it to solve complex problems millions of times faster than traditional computing, and it can be applied to our industry to save us time and labor. Now, a common question we get asked is, what kinds of problems does quantum computing actually solve? The answer lies around big data, which, according to Oracle, is only doubling in size every 2 years. Grocery retailer and CPG companies spend an average of $5 million to $50 million a year on data collection, and this number skyrockets to the hundreds of millions of dollars for bigger corporations. We need to take a step back. Take a step back to think about whether your organizations are really using all of the data available to you. Research done by BARC estimates that businesses, on average, are only using 30% of the data that they have available to them. Furthermore, survey research indicates that over half of business decisions are still being made through sheer gut feel. Now, going back to this library analogy, all of those books represent the vast amount of data that we aren't fully utilizing. And quantum technologies are a tool that can help us bridge that gap and help our businesses make better informed decisions. So, to show you how this can all play out, I'm going to share with you a quick story. In March of 2023, social media exploded with the Chicharrón and Guacamole Dunk Challenge. Being a Hispanic retailer working at the store at the time, I saw this firsthand, from the dramatic increase in sales and movement for this item, but most importantly, the fact that we were seeing a more diverse customer base coming into our store just to try this trend. At some point, I even had to try it for myself. Our organization spent weeks putting together a marketing campaign to capitalize on that trend, but by the time that it was completed and signage was in the stores, that trend had already passed. Customers were already looking on to the next big thing. So, did we really capitalize? Having quantum systems at this time would have allowed us to identify and take action on this trend much sooner. Now, just how fast? There's a beverage company out of Austin, Texas that was able to build a marketing campaign in just 90 seconds, a task that would have taken them hours and weeks to complete. Now, we had the privilege of talking with executives of two reputable quantum service companies, Murray Tom from D-Wave Systems and Daniel Lay from Strangeworks. We actually invited Daniel Lay to be here today, and he's a USC alum. Fight on. Now, in speaking with these two gentlemen, the common theme that we found with them and in our research was the ability of companies to bring down complex problems and computing time from hours, weeks, months, and even years to just seconds. Now, think about the cost savings in this, and think about the impact on our customers. So, we are not asking you to be first movers in this technology. What we are asking you is to invest boldly and join a race that has already started. There are retailer and CPG companies out there, and some in this very room already, that are already looking at the applications of quantum technologies. Companies like Save On Foods, a grocer based out of Canada, has partnered with D-Wave that provides its quantum services. Amazon, our #1 e-commerce competitor, is building their own quantum technologies, and it is only a matter of time before we see its adoption by Whole Foods. Every single day, there are breakthroughs in the quantum technology space, and we've been blessed enough to see some of those breakthroughs come in the last couple of months at our very own campus here at USC. As time goes on, more and more industries are shifting their eyes to quantum technology and looking for ways to optimize problems within their own respective companies. It is time that our industry does the same. This brings us to a very critical question. Danny, why is now the opportune moment to embrace this technology?
Every company in this room today has built its success on one fundamental principle: by putting customers first. They're already living in a world where trends emerge and explode within hours, where shopping happens seamlessly across dozens of different touch points. But I recently realized just how hard it is to truly connect with younger generations. I want you to meet Mason. He's a Gen Alpha and my son. I had the pleasure of picking up Mason from school, and right away he said, "Dad, can we go to 7-Eleven?" I asked him, "What for?" He said, "My friends invited me, and we all want to go get snacks together. Well, why don't we just go to Stater Brothers instead?" Mason shot that down fast. They don't have what we want to buy. Sure enough, when we got to 7-Eleven, 5 of Mason's friends had also convinced their parents to take them. All the kids ran inside, grabbed those colorful Prime bottles right off the shelf, and got so excited when they saw the Mr. Beast candy bars at the checkout. But standing there watching them, I realized I'm completely out of touch with what all trends are these days. They weren't just buying random drinks. These brands meant something to them. It's like they had their own little culture that I could barely understand. But seeing Mason stand there with his friends, light up, with his Prime bottle in his hand, made me smile. These trendy products might seem silly to me, but for them, it's part of fitting in and connecting with his friends. The gap between what I grew up buying and what Mason likes is huge. But quantum computing could have seen this within minutes. Speaking of Prime, remember last year's supply shortages? Well, quantum computing could have helped. It spots demand patterns early and improves forecasting before problems even occur. Current forecasting systems can only look back. Quantum computing has the ability to look forward to identify future trends. It takes the guesswork out of it, turns it into certainty by analyzing massive amounts of data in real time. Imagine fewer out of stocks, happier customers, bigger sales, and millions of dollars back to your bottom line. Every company and supplier in this room today needs this technology. This brings me to one classic problem in supply chain management. The traveling salesman problem asks, what's the shortest distance between multiple locations and returning back to its original starting point? For traditional computers, trying to solve this across hundreds of warehouses, thousands of stores, is nearly impossible. Add in factors like traffic, weather, labor constraints, it's not going to happen. Conventional systems can't keep up. It's just too much for it. Now, add in just one more city. The number of possibilities explodes and becomes a mathematical nightmare. But there's actually a university in Hamburg, Germany, that was able to take 10 cities with over 300,000 possibilities and find the most optimal route within minutes, all while using quantum computing. Quantum computing changes everything. What would take traditional computers years to solve, quantum computing solve within minutes. This isn't something that's of the future. This is now. Quantum computing is changing everything. It's not just moving faster, it's moving smarter. Today we're providing you a solution to pretty much eliminate out of stocks and revolutionize logistics, all while adopting quantum computing to your organizations. So Alex, what's holding us back?
When it comes to advances in technology, we're always behind. We wait for our peers to take the leap, and then we follow. This is what happened with e-commerce, and look where Amazon is now. It's time for our industry to embrace technology because we're experiencing a shift. Consumers are in the driver's seat telling us what they want or what they wanted when we didn't have it. And for decades, our industry used our institutional knowledge to create demand by driving innovation at retail. Many of us can trace our innovative nature back to our company's founders, who took risks to create the legacies we carry on today. I'm a part of one of those legacies. My family's produce business, Frida's, was founded in 1962 by my grandmother, Frida Kaplan. It was her intuition that drove her entrepreneurial spirit and helped her build her legacy of changing the way America eats. You see, my grandma introduced Chinese gooseberries to America in 1962 and later renamed it to the kiwi fruit. And my family went on to introduce over 200 new fruits and vegetables to US supermarkets. My grandma created demand. She created a need consumers didn't know they had to try new fruits they didn't know existed, all off her intuition. But today, intuition alone is not enough for us to give consumers what they want when they want it. Consumers are more informed than they've ever been, and we have less time than ever before. It's time for us to amplify our intuition with technology, with quantum computing. Quantum computing will put us back in the driver's seat by creating demand and solving our industry's most complex problems. Today, we've shared with you how quantum computing can help you capture sales from viral food trends, virtually eliminate controllable out-of-stocks, and revolutionize route optimization. We're ready for quantum computing, and quantum computing's ready for us. The quantum computing service industry will reach $4.4 billion this year and $26 billion by 2030. An expert in this disruptive technology once said that the future of retail belongs to retailers who boldly invest in this technology and its ability to increase the value of our business to the consumer. Quantum computing is not technology of the future. It's here. The theory of quantum was introduced in the 1980s and is now scalable, providing innovative solutions that are accessible and affordable. Let's not be caught unprepared like we were with AI adoption. Let's be bold and invest now. Invest by first engaging with your CTO or IT teams and setting up an introduction call with a quantum computing service provider, like D-Wave or Strangeworks, who's in the room today. Second, budget $5,000 a month for quantum computing platform access. Think of how much you spend annually maintaining legacy systems. $60,000 a year is a small ask. Third, identify a problem in your business that you want to solve and begin testing and learning with your quantum computing service provider. And lastly, start building internal resource teams, like hiring a data scientist to help you define the guardrails you need in order to stay in control when investing in technology. The future belongs to those who see it first. The The companies in this room that invest in quantum computing will not only capture billions of dollars from viral trends, they will shape the next decade of our industry. Quantum computing is here. Let's make it a part of our story. We are the Trend Sentinels. Thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Is it our kids' class?
Carl, thank you.
Great job, guys, by the way. Any research or info that you found to guard against false trends, like lighted, like lighted shoes?
You want to take it?
Could you repeat the first part of that question? Sorry, the frog.
How do you guard against launching into action on a false trend?
That's a great question. We know that because quantum computers can run through so much data simultaneously, what it does is it identifies patterns. And so it will be able to tell us this is an anomaly or this is a pattern. And at the end of the day, you have to use our institutional knowledge and our intuition with quantum computing to be able to make that decision. However, your quantum computing service provider, being a good partner for you, can help you really understand how this is an anomaly, this is a pattern. You know, don't listen to this, what you're seeing here.
We
Thank
currently
you.
actually do that on a manual process. So a lot of our companies actually have a third-party company that has that information, but it's labor constraints. Like they're having to do this manually and look through millions of different trends. Quantum computing will be able to kind of surface that and minimize it to just a few different ones.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. So can it help you create a trend? Can you maybe look ahead and see something and maybe help us find a trend?
So quantum computing is really just going to analyze data, so it's not going to create a trend for you, but it's just going to analyze data much quicker to help you capture those trends.
And what it'll do is it'll tell you all of the things, like you could feed it information from past trends, and it'll help you identify the patterns that demonstrated this was a trend that was going viral. So that way you can know what it takes to make a trend go viral, or when something's starting to catch on, what are you going to do about that? So it can't just make a trend happen, but it certainly can give you the power to identify what it takes to make a trend happen.
Yeah, it's more about the emulation, right? Using a historical data and kind of saying, hey, you know what? Well, let me see if I can emulate this trend that happened earlier, right? So that's the way they can help you out.
And just to tack on to that, each social platform has a different quantifiable number of what makes something go viral. Whether it's TikTok is over 1 million, but it could be Facebook is only 100,000. And as well as our companies, we all see it in a little bit different of a light, different number that we're looking for. So it'll capture those and how you're looking at them.
That was really interesting, thank you. Also, thank you to your family. Kiwi is one of my favorite foods, so I really appreciate that being introduced. So to capture the ability to act on a trend, do you have to use the quantum computing across your supply chain, or without it on the other components of your supply chain, can you move fast enough to capture a trend? Meaning, can you use it just for trends, or do you have to use it across your supply chain to really harvest that trend fast enough?
I can take it. So what it can do is, the reason we wanted to talk through several parts of the supply chain is because, yes, it can help you identify the patterns that are going to show you it's a trend, but what it can also do is tell you, okay, and then this is what you could do next time to produce more product. Let's look at all your data when it comes to production. Here are the tweaks you need to make to be able to produce more within 12 hours to meet the needs of this trend. So of course, ideally, the entire supply chain is using this technology. However, it starts with one, so we have to start somewhere. But it can absolutely help you identify along the supply chain what it's going to take to feed that trend, and then, of course, help you solve many more problems in your business.
I think regardless, right, if let's say you're just a retailer and you're using this technology, maybe your supply chain isn't using it yet, just the fact that you are able to identify that faster maybe than a competitor and take action, right? Do those orders and order the product or whatever the case may be before everyone else, it already puts you at an advantage.
So does it tell you how long this trend is going to last?
Sorry, what is?
Does it tell you how long this trend is going to last?
It won't tell you because, again, it's not going to predict and make a bet for you, but what it can tell you is based on past trends, here's how long it lasted, and probably here are the factors that caused it to last this long. So it can probably inform you of how long it could last, but it certainly isn't going to predict it in a guaranteed fashion.
And the thing about trends, we know, being on social media, trends go by so fast. And there's only a couple of trends that kind of stick for weeks, months. So it's really about capitalizing at that very moment. And I believe if you're able to capitalize, when this trend is starting to go trendy, I guess, I think you may be able to prolong it and say, hey, you know what? Well, this competitor or this retailer has this product, and you're going to get those customers.
And the power of intuition and what this quantum computing has the capability of doing, it's remarkable. So you pair those two together, and the possibilities are just endless.